Hi, if you're receiving this, it's because you have volunteered to be a Glad Dogs Nation sewer. And I'm going to show you how to do the stitch that we use most frequently. But if you're new with us, you probably have toys that are going to be given away to shelters and rescues. So just remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. And whatever stitch you create that will keep the squeaker inside is what we need. So chances are you received your toys with the squeaker already inside, but I just showed you how to put one in just in case. And here I'm going to show you how to thread a needle so that you can get started. So I sent you some craft thread or needlepoint flossing, as it's called, and some needles that have a nice big eye. But if you need to get something to help you thread the needle, they have devices at any sewing store or craft store. So I'm using my GoPro camera, so it's a little bit weird doing this. I'm trying to stay down as close as I can so that you can see the stitch. So what I do is a double knot at the end of the thread. Try to get that second knot right on top of the first so that we have a nice strong bond. And then what we're going to do is take our needle and start about 1/4 inch out from the actual hole. And that's so we have a lot more holding this together than just something at the very end that could easily break. So you're just going to start at the very bottom because we want to cover that whole thing. Start about 1/4 inch out, as I said, and pull. Now I got some stuffing in there that time. That's totally fine. You want to make sure that you pull it tight. Don't stop halfway through and then start with the next stitch. You want to pull it all the way through. So what we're going to do is loop over so that you're always going to be bringing the needle in from this side and it's always going to be coming out from that side. So I'm coming over. You can keep them as tight as you can, but it doesn't have to be like super on top of each other. And you'll do another. Sometimes you will get your thread caught on other parts of the toy. You can see that this is stitching up nicely. And you just keep looping over. This is called a whip stitch. And because of all of the fabric that is being held, you get an extra strong bond here. It's not flimsy. It will hold up to a dog's playing, a dog's chewing, and that's what you want. We want to hold that squeaker inside as long as we possibly can so the dog can have as much fun as possible. All right, and then let's do one more at the very end and make sure that whole thing is closed up. Now, beautiful stitch. What we're going to do to end this is loop it around to create a knot. And then I always hold my finger there so I can pull it tight and keep that knot close to the body of the toy. And then I go back and I do it again. Just cut it off. And we're ready to go. That toy is sewn up. The squeaker is in there. Perfect. Just want to show you one other thing while I've got you. Here's a tiny toy, and sometimes squeakers might come out during transit, and I want you to understand that you can put them back in. Now, in some cases you might have to take a little bit of stuffing out to make room for the squeaker. That's perfectly understandable. The toy was not created with a squeaker inside. And sometimes the hole might be a little small. In a case like this, it's easy enough to take your scissors and just cut it open. But in some cases, it's not quite as easy. There might be a horizontal seam running top and bottom. And once you cut a horizontal seam, it's a whole can of worms that you're opening up. So if in fact you need to put a squeaker inside of a smaller space, just want you to know that they fold up. You can slip it in. And then it will naturally start to open inside, and then just smush it around a little bit. and you'll open that up and it'll be ready to go. Let me do one more example of sewing for you. So pretty small one, so we can do it quickly. Again, I'm making that double knot. We do like to use thread that is visible, meaning your thread doesn't have to match. We're not trying to hide this stitch. This stitch actually represents the spay and neuter scar, which if that was on every pet would cut down on pet overpopulation and homelessness. So we would like to see that on every pet. So here we go. We're going to start about 1/4 of an inch out. Now in a case like this where the squeaker is really taking up a lot of the internal space, it's going to fight you and want to open up that, that hole. You'll find after you get about 3 or 4 stitches in that it gets tamed and it stays in place. So the toys that you're getting should be pretty easy to get this needle through. I try to send the thinner, easier to sew toys as you're getting started. Okay, and now here is that double knot. I kind of like when a little bit of the thread is exposed there on the ends. I think it looks kind of cute. But if you want to do something a little different, you certainly can. So we have a couple cute toys to give to dogs. Thanks so much for your help.